Well, everybody, I'm out in the garden today. It's a very hot day, and today is a day that we are going to harvest our beets. Lots of beets to harvest, and so let's get started before the day gets much hotter. So these are the Detroit red beets, and I'm going to go ahead and harvest them. I have about a 75-foot row. I'm only going to harvest the ones that are very mature and big. So let's get started. So what I like to do out in the garden is we're going to cut the tops off, but you want to leave an inch of the stem, because if you cut too low, you're going to make your red beets bleed, and by doing so you won't have the beautiful red color. So we're going to cut the stems off, but only leave a few inches above. So the best way to do this is we're going to look and we're going to see which beets are ready to pull. This one is really big. I like the big beets because it makes a lot more of the pickled beets for canning. So there we go, we have one, and I'm going to show you. So here's another one, big one. If we have one that's not mature, then we're not going to go ahead and we're not going to pick it. These greens are great for the chickens, and I will give that to them after I'm finished. So I'm going to go through the whole 75-foot row, and we're going to go ahead and harvest them. Alright, I harvest all of that. Now I'm going to go take the wheelbarrow, and we're going to go ahead, get all the greens, and we'll let the chickens eat it. So now we're going to go and harvest our potatoes. So digging potatoes is a lot of hard work. But the same person who got me the green bean seeds also gave me this fork. It's amazing for digging potatoes. So what we got to do is we got to push way down and lift up, and we get to see all of the treasures. All of the potatoes are in it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to dig up all of these potatoes. Now these potatoes were free because they were seeds I had last year. So they were last year's potatoes that were left over, which you saw me do a video on. And these are the new ones now. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to dig up this row, and I'll show you the potatoes that we get. you, I found a new way to combat my deer problem. And it is one of these. So what it is a sensor light, and it blinks and it scares the deer away. So far it's been working pretty good. I got 2 of them for $15. They're made to scare away any kind of predator animal, like a fox or like a coyote or a bobcat, and deer. It blinks like eyes, and so they think that there's a predator animal in the garden. So it works great, and I'm glad I researched it and found a product that may help me just a little bit in my fight against all of these animals in a urban garden. The one I have sitting over there, and now I just planted some green beans. Now I planted the green beans over here where that mesh is. I'm going to keep that mesh there until the green beans come up, just to see if the deer are going to stay away, because so far they are with having these lights. They ate a lot of the beans off the top, but the beans are starting to outgrow it, so that's great. So all in all, I can't complain about the garden this year. I'm going to have a really bumper tomato harvest, and I'm really happy for that. I'm going to share with you a little bit of a tip and trick that I use to prepare and wash all kinds of vegetables. So we have all of these beets, and they're so full of mud and dirt, it's really impossible for me to wash them inside the house. But I did a product review a year ago on this EcoSpin, and this is actually for clothing, but I don't use it for clothing, I use it for my produce. So it's an EcoSpin, and you're supposed to be able to wash your clothes in it. It didn't really work that effective for me, but let me tell you what I found out does work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the majority. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to get the majority of the mud off these beets. Then we're going to put them in this. Basically, this is like a large salad spinner. I washed my cucumbers and all kinds of things. Now, you don't want to wash your potatoes, because once you wash your potatoes, you won't be able to store them for long term. Never wash your potatoes if you want them to be stored for a long time. But these beets we're going to be canning today. See how muddy and dirty this water is? It would make such a mud mess in the house. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill this up with water. I like to think I came up with this idea. I've never seen anybody else do it, but it's amazing. All right, so we're going to stop the water for a moment. We're going to put this lid on it, and we are going to start turning. So basically, we're washing all of these beets. And it works really easy. Avalon Bay EcoSpin. Not for your clothing, for washing your harvest. Then there's an attachment at the end, right here you can see, and we're just going to let all the yucky water out. All right, see how nice and clean they look? We're going to close the drainage, and we're going to do it another time. Fill it up with water. It's just such a fun way of washing all of these vegetables. And you don't have to do any work. And it gets them really, really clean. So I hope you liked this video on just a little tip of using a off-the-grid washing machine, not for your clothing, but washing your fruits and your vegetables.